I am streaming there. I am recording, simple record in case all goes to shit and we have that raw audio, which is great. What's my CPU at? 30%. That's not too bad because there's no video. Are you ready to go?
I am ready to go. Give me the countdown.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Clone Wars Season 7 review. I am one of your hosts, the number one Kylo Ren fanboy in the world, Travis Brennan Snell. I dropped the middle name. I don't even know why I dropped the middle name, but I did.
What was the middle name you dropped?
I'm not going to drop it again. You have to go back and listen.
I guess I will have to, yeah. I am the 1313 Taylor Field.
I'm surprised you're dropping that this week and not last week. And I feel like we
I
both
forgot to last week. I'm so mad at myself.
we both did. I thought about that because I listened to someone else's review and they were talking about being 1313. I'm like, man, we totally fucking spaced. We didn't even talk about how cool that was that they went there and name dropped and everything. I was like, man, we were back. And also though, we were having tons of technical difficulties last week, so that's what I blame it on, that we were a little flustered and everything because we had difficulties, and then Kyle and Dylan were like, try this, and it's just one of those things when when your dad got lost on a trip and you're like, how much longer, blah, blah, and then you're just like, your dad's like, pipe down, back down there. Or like when Phil Hartman in Jingle All the Way, you remember when he burns his finger on the cookies and the
Oh,
kids are
yeah.
fighting and he's like, pipe down in there. That's what I thought we were last week because it's just like everything was going wrong. But that's why, baby steps. As we've said before, this is because of COVID-19. We're practicing social distancing. So for the foreseeable future, Geekverse will be kind of remotely podcasted. So if we have any kind of missteps or whatnot, please bear with us because this is our first time. Last week was our first time testing it, and that was still like the testing phase. We've not nearly perfected it. So we will try our best to perfect it, but we hope everyone's doing well and safe and everything like that. You can go back, unless we got a bunch of reviews going on. Me and Dylan dropped some reviews for some movies. I did as well. Taylor dropped the Kingdom review. I want to show everyone that watched my YouTube review of the Chris Benoit series. That was really emotional for me to do, but the feedback's been really great. This week for Geek First. Oh, also, I guess Dylan dropped an it's Animal Crossing, right?
Definitely Animal
I
Crossing.
was gonna say Animal Kingdom, and I don't know why I was gonna say Animal Kingdom,
Yeah,
but
Animal Kingdom.
what is the subtitle of that game?
Horizons.
Okay, I was wondering if it was like Animal Crossing Kingdom, but that'd be a bad title anyway. So check that out. Dylan just dropped that. And then also you're listening to this, go back and check out every episode of Clone Wars we've done before, whether that's season 7 or all the way 1 to 6. All those. And then this week we'll be doing a newscast, and that'll be, well, we're doing a newscast / we're doing this thing. So as I said, and then we'll get into this review right here. For the time being, as you've seen, Wonder Woman got delayed. Everything's getting delayed. Nothing's coming out. So we went over to Patreon, and that's why you can go join right now, because we're doing this at any tier. Usually it's the $25 tier, the best tier yet. You can request a movie for us to review or do a commentary track for. Right now, because kind of lack of content, we went to our Patrons and said, hey, tell us what you want us to review. So this week, we're going to do what all these casts are going to be there called Patreon picks. We're going to do news still, but there's not that much news. So at the start, we'll probably have like 10, 15, 20 minutes of talking news. I know Dylan has a few things shot. I do, we'll talk about Wonder Woman being delayed quickly, but just a small packet of news. And then our kind of bread and butter, our main topic is going to be a movie. And this week's movie is going to be Dark Man. So, Taylor, you've never seen it, right? So are you excited for a Sam Raimi superhero directed film starring Liam Neeson? I feel like that's fucking right up your alley.
I mean, I didn't really realize Sam Raimi did anything else superhero related outside of Spider-Man, and not Nick Cage. Liam Neeson is like one of my go-tos. He is like the current generation's Chuck Norris as far as I'm
Oh
concerned.
my
He trained
God.
Darth Vader, he trained Obi-Wan. He was a god in 2 religions.
He
He
trained
trained
Batman.
Batman.
Yeah.
He's done everything. So he's pretty awesome.
I think that movie for you, and a minor spoiler for our Mortal Kombat commentary track, is go there, patrons right now. You can get, I think this weekend we'll be dropping the Catwoman retro, but you can get the Howard the Duck retro months early. You can get Hobbit retro, a bunch of stuff, and you get all these episodes ad free. But also at the $5 tier, you got our commentary tracks. We did Suicide Squad, we did Mortal Kombat, and a minor spoiler for that. Taylor was like, "Man, this is a movie I wish I'd seen earlier." I think this Darkman movie is going to be that for you. I think it's going to be one of those you regret that you've seen for the first time now, and it's going to be in your wheelhouse. Just the type of movie it is, I feel like it's a Taylor Field movie. So.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think it's right. It's not as bad as Mortal Kombat, but it has some very Taylor-esque, like I'd say, humor and action. So yeah, I'm excited to watch that. But I hope you're all excited because we're going to be talking about Ahsoka coming back again for episode 2 of her arc. It was called Deal or No Deal. Now, what's going to happen here? Usually I read out the synopsis. It's a Clone Wars tradition. The reason I'm not going to right now is because IMDb didn't have it. Just said, oh, do you know the plot? And then Wikipedia has a very like spoiler heavy one. So what I'm going to do is I'll get Taylor to give his overalls. I'll give my overalls. And then when my overalls, you want my overalls?
Girls.
When I'm done and we go into spoilers, then I will read the synopsis because it's a little spoiler heavy. I imagine most people don't listen to this for the non-spoilers, but still, just in case you do, just in case you're not caught up, we'll save the synopsis till after because I don't want to spoil anything. So Taylor, what do you think about this episode? Obviously, it's following Ahsoka. She's on her journey. She got linked up with these sisters. We were wondering last week, will they be a part of the arc? And we thought they would, but that was kind of confirmed that this arc seems like it's going to be her and these sisters. What do you think about Ahsoka getting into some adventures with some, drug smuggling pretty much?
I feel like this episode did a really good job at diving into a lot of familiar things that I really, really liked. It just, I was like, wow, this actually feels like an immersive Star Wars experience, and it's not creating something new like the Clone Wars and other films usually do, but it's going to some places that we're familiar with, some experiences that are memorable to us, and I'm like, this is just right up my alley, and I really like that. So I think there's a lot of good things in this episode that I really liked. A lot of good callbacks to certain moments that we've had as well. And yeah, if anything, the only major cons I have are, I guess, the development of the two sisters. I think that there is a lot of I get that it's for kids, but even then, to a certain degree, I feel like, wow, like with the things that just have happened with these two characters is so stupid, and I hate how things are unfolding with them. And it's just I feel like you can only be stupid so much before something happens, and it just in that sense, like, it bothered me a little bit, but overall, it was a really, really good episode, and I'll get more into what I disliked about their development later on in the spoilers.
Yeah, I think you and I feel for the most part with Clone Wars, you and I go back and forth. I think other than some of those, the Echo episodes you did enjoy a bit more than me, we've been pretty on point with our same feelings on this season. And I feel the same way where I liked a lot of the elements of this episode. I liked the adventure we were going on. I kind of liked the trouble we got into. And there's certain locations where, like you said, we see things we've seen before, or even just the ideas where I'll wait till spoilers, but just it did have an immersive feel. So I did really like that. But the stuff with the sisters kind of felt a little too cartoony. We always talk about that where sometimes this show is like, it feels that it's for Star Wars fans, it's for all ages, and it can maybe lean not a bit more towards adult, but just maybe a more adult storytelling, right? I think there's a difference between maybe like some DreamWorks movie and a Pixar movie, where Pixar, I feel, can be animation that's for kids and adults. I feel Clone Wars is that sometimes, but then some of the stuff with the sisters felt too adults, just kind of like, why'd you do that? Like, I don't know. And she puts up her, like, her shoulders, and it's like, oh, I'm watching Full House right now. And I just felt that they kind of sacrificed the character's intelligence just to move the plot forward, which I did not like. The character is younger, but I don't think they're that young, so that's what kind of bothered me. And I think last week I kind of talked about because I listened to some other podcasts, and I think we were one of the more positive people on that Ahsoka episode because lots of people were like, nothing happened, blah, blah, blah. And I guess for me, I'm not expecting too much of Ahsoka's story to happen because she's in Rebels. Hopefully she's going to be Mandalorian coming up, what we talked about. So I feel like there's most of her interesting stuff has been told in Rebels with her and Anakin, or is going to be more coming out with Mandalorian, maybe Baby Yoda. So to me, this is like kind of the in-between. Like I said to you with Obi-Wan, that's why I want that show. I don't want him, you and I are the same, I don't want him to leave Tatooine and go on this big adventure. I just want to see what's his day-to-day life hanging on a Tatooine. And that's what I liked about last week. Like, what is a day in the life of Ahsoka going to a place she doesn't know, 1313, she's out of her element, dealing with crime syndicate or underground stuff like that. And to me, it was like a perfect, just a little short story, where this was the classic Clone Wars setup episode where I think a lot happened, but not a lot at the same time, just a lot of setup. So I actually think next week could be quite good. I think we're gonna get some good action, but I think this week was more about like, okay, we set up Ahsoka and the relationship with both the sisters again further, and then we set up what's going on with them in the Pike, and then we set up this conflict, and it ends on like a classic Clone Wars cliffhanger of just like, tune in next week pretty much. So I liked the episode, but nowhere near as much as last week. And I don't think it was a bad episode, but I just even Gwen, who now, because we've been doing these reviews in the daytime, she loves Ahsoka. I've told this on Twitter and Facebook. I've been watching Rebels, the finale, spoilers finale of the first season of Rebels, but Ahsoka appears and she like gasped and she stood up, got all excited. Even this episode, she got bored by, and she hasn't really been bored by, and she likes Clone Wars more than Rebels. I don't know if it's the animation style, but I think it's because of Ahsoka. But Ahsoka doesn't do much in this episode. There's just a lot of her sitting around and talking. So I wasn't really into that. My daughter wasn't really into it. So I think the episode, it was fine, but nothing I am dying to rewatch in the future. Nothing like that. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I will. Okay. So 3, 2, 1. Here comes the spoilers right now. You can say keep for symbol if you want, Taylor.
Verse assemble.
So deal or no deal, Rafa accepts an assignment to deliver a load of spice from Kessel to the Pike Crime Syndicate. Without a pilot to call upon, she uses Trace and her self-built ship, the Silver Angel, for the job. However, when Ahsoka argues with Rafa, the Pikes might not claim just the spice, but the ship as well. Trace impulsively jettisons the shipment into hyperspace. Ahsoka tries to see the Pikes, thinking they've been double-crossed by Kessel's king, Kessel's king Yabra, but she, Trace, and Rafa get captured instead. So that's why I left the synopsis till after, because it was one of those classic Wikipedia ones where it gave away everything. And this is where I'll start, and I'll throw to you after I ask you a question. If this was your same problem, I hated the whole, we had the spice, and the sister, her idea to get the Pike and Crime Syndicate offer was to dump the spice. Was that your problem as well?
I thought that she was completely she was stupid because she kept like, oh, I don't want anyone to take my ship. Don't take my ship. And she dumps it and she's like, problem solved. I was like, are you kidding me? That's so stupid. You're an idiot.
And that's where I wish, if they were going to go that route, they should have made her younger. They should have made her a child then, because at least you could have wrote it off that, oh, she's a young child. She wasn't thinking it through. But she, to me, is like, how old do you think she is?
I think she's probably like 18, 19.
Yeah, so and I even think could be possibly older. So to me, it's just she's like at least a teenager, becoming an adult, and I just think she knows enough not to. I don't know. You're supposed to bring all this stuff to crime people that you now owe them, and you're just gonna dump it and get rid of them. That made no sense, and especially because like I get it, she was worried about the ship, but it was just like a completely selfish move. Like I don't want them taking the ship, so they dump it. And then it's like, oh, all coast clear, and that's why I thought. To me, if she was a child, I would have been fine with it. But to me, they sacrificed her intelligence a little bit just to move the plot forward. They just needed some reason for there to be escalation in the episode, and they just made her make this rash decision that I didn't think mixed with her character.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I just think that overall the her decision in doing that just really bothered me, and I felt like this whole episode she was just really playing too dumb, I guess, and it didn't make sense. I hated the relationship she has with her sister, because her sister is, and this is not just in this show but in general, I hate seeing it when like the sister doesn't, I don't feel like she's looking out for the best interest between her and her sister. She's like trying to like cheat people out, and she's just using her younger sister for whatever means that she wants, and her younger sister is just blindly going along with it because she's generally too dumb and doesn't know anything of the outside world. And I mean, I think Ahsoka is handling it way better than, I mean, I feel like I would in that situation, but like she's definitely really adapted to this whole thing. But I feel like, especially when she's getting behind her, the helm of her ship, and she's flying in the military lane, and then all she has to do is get out of the lane, but she's staying in it, and then she takes the call, and it's like, what are you doing? Are you stupid?
Yeah.
Listen to what Ahsoka's saying. It drives me nuts that it was such a long scene where she stayed in the military lane, and then the guy's like, oh, or Admiral Yularen was like, I'm gonna take your license for this or whatever. And she's like, oh, I need one of those. I'm just thinking, wow, she's such a letdown of a character. I was interested in the first episode, but this just really kind of damaged that character for me. So
yeah, no, I can agree. I was the same thing. I was interested in the character, want to see where it goes, and to me, I didn't think it was gonna be like she's gonna be this amazing character I'd love for the rest of the time, but I was invested, or the idea of being invested was there. And I don't know, and I guess maybe I'd have to watch that episode again. It's been last week, so maybe I honestly will in the future, because they are shorter. Maybe she did some things that were a bit more naive. I just thought she was a bit more smarter, especially because they kind of insinuate like they're kind of surviving on the streets. They're not homeless or anything, but they kind of, to me, it felt like both the sisters were smart enough to know like things like that. And to me, it was just okay. The dynamic is you got one sister who's smart, but she's kind of doing some shitty stuff, and you got the other sister who's smart, but because she loves her sister, she either looks past it or she's too blind to see it. And that to me is fine because that's like a personal thing. I wouldn't call her dumb for that because like one, that's a trope we see all the time, but it's like okay, that makes sense. The love of her sister is blinding kind of the negativity around her sister, right? So she can't see that. Where this was just even then just like her just dumping it. Yeah, at least even for me, it would have been like asking and then getting some argument and then do it. But just to not even ask was just because to me, it's a risky play. It's not like she went to go do it and then she stopped and they're like, "What are you doing?" She literally did it. And it's like, that's a thing you can't come back from at all. And it was like, what, worth 30,000 credits or something? That's a lot of credits.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's not something that blows over. Like, I don't know why I don't know why would you do that? Like, that she's the kind of person where if you guys are all trapped in an elevator and there's zombies outside and the elevator's slowly dropping down, there's one gun. She's the one who's gonna grab the gun and probably like shoot everyone out of fear. Like you don't trust her with anything.
yeah, and then she's gonna die holding the gun, and you're like, oh no, it's like in Warzone when the person has all the money and they die, and you're like, oh no, you really screwed us.
Exactly.
So yeah, so that's what kind of bummed me out. And that kind of took me out of the episode. And then I liked the whole okay, they get there, they do the Jedi mind trick. I liked the Pike. I like they kind of didn't we get that scene with them at a table and whatnot, kind of discussing some deals. Was that the
Uh,
Pike or what? Who was
uh,
that?
uh, I don't know if they were ever at a table. I know they were at a table in the other episode.
Okay, I thought there was another like, but either way, I liked that scene. But I liked the setup of the Pikes. But yeah, this kind of I don't know. Like, I'm excited for next week because I think we're gonna get some good action, which I think is neat in this episode. I always like the character stuff more, as I always say. But when the character stuff is this, I'm not that much into, and it's stuff I wasn't that interested in, or I disagree with personally, or I didn't see personally the reason for doing it to me. Like I said, I think it hurt the character. So I'm thinking next week I'm hoping next week is not another kind of that mid-tier episode where it's just more kind of waiting or delaying the inevitable, but I think next week we'll kind of, or whenever we get it, we'll get a good escape episode. We'll get to see Ahsoka with some action, so that's good. But it just kind of killed my interest in these characters. So the good thing is, like, I still love Ahsoka. I'm excited to see what she's doing in her adventure, but I don't really have much invested in these sisters anymore. So that's kind of a bummer to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I'm hoping that it will, pick up in the next episode for sure. And I'm expecting it to be pretty good, like action packed and all that, which is exciting. So that's good. But yeah, the characters for me just wasn't doing it. Were nothing really good, I would say. So just I feel like they really just kind of wrote them off a little bit, which is unfortunate. And yeah, I the one thing like that I do appreciate coming out of that scene where she wasn't supposed to be in the military lane is when Anakin was on the ship, and it was a perfect callback to Return of the Jedi. I loved how they did that. It was
Mm-hmm.
so good.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That was a
Um,
big pro for me.
yeah, so I that was just great. Again, like when we were going to Kessel and just seeing that hyper lane going to like through the maelstrom, I thought, oh, immediately this is Kessel. I'm like, oh, this is actually super cool to see on a different era as opposed to Solo. So I just think that was a super cool little tie-in.
Yeah,
I felt like the episode, like there was just so many tie-ins, which really, really made me happy.
yeah, I agree. That's what I talked about. You talked about at the beginning. I did as well. Same thing. I liked all those tie-ins of the world building. I liked like, oh, are those droids? No, those are people. And just getting like small little glimpses of Kessel and what's going on. And then it's interesting later on down the line, like that's not people. It's Wookiees kind of there when we get to Solo. So I liked all that stuff. I loved the Anakin part. That was great because he knows that it's her right on that ship.
Oh, he knew. He could sense it.
Yeah, so I liked that, and I like that they chose not to go for her just because I'm just interested. I hope that they well, also we see them together, so that's good. But I'll be interested to see what their interaction is because it's like, why didn't he go for blah blah? And there's the reasons we can theorize because he's a little troublemaker and he doesn't want them like finding Ahsoka, or he has no reason to really. But it's just still like I think it'd be a deeper level thing. So I'm excited for them to meet up. But yeah, I thought that was a nice touch. I honestly didn't think he was going to say no. I thought he was going to say yes, and they were going to link up at this point. But no, I wonder if that will happen next week or he'll.
Shoot that shit down.
Yeah, get that pile of junk out of the sky, just like good old Ben Solo. But yeah, so I agree with you. I liked all that stuff. I liked the setup, and I still even like the chemistry that the three characters have with Ahsoka and the sisters at the beginning of the episode, just talking and kind of you can see them butting heads or wanting to do things a different way. I enjoyed that all. It just I think at the end kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. So I think that's all the notes I have really because I thought this was a very basic episode. Like I said, this was a classic. If we were doing these like we're reviewing them all back to back, this is one we would have threw in like with three others because this was very much as even though last week was the first time we met all this both sisters. This was completely a setup episode. Not completely, but for the most part, a setup episode, in my opinion, for either the next one or two. So I don't have much left. I don't think I have anything. If there's anything you want to speak about.
Um, Gosh, I mean, not really. I mean, overall, like the episode, don't get me wrong, it definitely set me up with being excited for the next one. And like
Mm-hmm.
for me personally, like considering the fact that Kessel was owned by the Pikes later on, I'm really wondering, okay, how is this deal in itself going to result in the Pikes taking over Kessel? Is this, because like you said in that bio there, like, okay, they're trying to pin that the king is responsible for not giving the proper spice to the Pikes. So the Pikes going to go to war and take over Kessel, and is that how Maul? Or is that how, or not with Maul, but is that where the Pikes assimilate like their command and take over the planet? So I think we're going to get some pretty cool crime syndicate stuff coming into play here,
Mm-hmm.
and that I think is going to lead into where Maul comes in a little bit. So I just think there's a lot of open potential here. And like I love crime faction stuff in Star Wars. I think it's super cool. And again, it's another thing that I hated was when the young sister Rafa was just like freaking out, like, oh, like crime, like gangsters like the other guy on Coruscant. And Ahsoka's like, no, like galactic wide. And like it's just I don't like how it's just I feel like how would you not know these things? And granted, watching Clone Wars and watching movies like Solo and stuff has made me realize, because when I was younger I used to think if you're in Star Wars everyone has a starfighter, everyone can go into the galaxy, but now I'm realizing, okay, not everyone can, like having a starship and having certain like training. And that's something from this episode I got to acknowledge too, was not everyone has the proper training or the knowledge to really kind of go out there into the galaxy. They can't afford it, so it's just, you can have easily a really shitty life in Star Wars
Oh
if you're
yeah.
not born in the right place. So I will give it to that to this arc right now. It's kind of like teaching me that a little bit. And it kind of showcases again like the Republic turning a blind eye on this Kessel being an open run slavery organization
Mm-hmm.
at the time of the Republic. So
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much all I have. I'd give it like one thumb up.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm gonna give it one thumb because, like I said, there was one just because I feel like it was a setup episode. Why I'm not even giving it the 1.5 or the 1.5 thumbs is because I felt it was very much a setup episode. I felt that I was not as intrigued as possible. There was things I liked in it sprinkled throughout, and then I also, like I said, was not a fan of how some of the characters went down. So yeah, no, yeah, one thumb. Hoping next week is better. I forgot to get you to do this at the beginning of the episode, Taylor. But where can they find us? Sometimes it happens.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us in the search bar with your internet connection. Geekverse Space Podcast on Facebook, Geekverse Cast on Twitter, and check out geekverse.ca for our home-based website.
Exactly. So yeah, go there, do all the links, subscribe. We got good stuff. If you like what we do here, like what we've done before, or in the future, go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star written review. That would help us a lot. Our next goal is trying to get to 200, and we're under 30 away. We're very, very close. So that'd be much appreciative. And yeah, we still got lots of stuff going on. I might actually be dropping a dynamic duo Liam Kyle finally. So that's good. And we got other reviews happening. And yeah, so COVID-19 might be all around, but we're not stopping the geek first, right, Taylor?
Oh, no. We're like anti-COVID. We're probably like the cure for COVID, to be
Oh,
honest.
oh yeah. We're I had something and I forgot it. I have no idea.
Oh,
But
no!
we're not. Oh, I guess we're not getting delayed like everything else. We're sticking around. So thank you very much for tuning in this episode. May the force be with you.
Blades.